Most business owners start their business because they want to have financial freedom. But in many cases, they don't understand their financials or they're scared of them, so they don't look at them. They just look at their bank accounts to see if there's money in there. And if there's money in there, then they figure that everything's okay. And then they'll just wait until the end of the year for their accountant to tell them whether or not they had a profit. The problem with that is if you don't have a good understanding of your finances, you can't make good decisions. You don't know if you're profitable. And quite honestly, you may be just cruising along at 100 miles an hour, listening to your favorite tune with the hair wind blowing through your hair, not realizing that you're headed for financial disaster because there's a cliff ahead. Okay. So you've got to know and understand your finances, because when you do, it gives you the ability to make good decisions. It gives you confidence in the financial strength of your business. And it also gives you the opportunity to plan for future growth. I've had several clients who've come to me, and before we started working together, they would use the bank account method of financial tracking. And if they had money in the account, they would spend it. And if they didn't have money in the account, obviously they wouldn't, or they'd have to take a loan. The problem was that very often when they would spend that money, they didn't think about the fact that it was already tied to an expense that was coming down the road. So as a result, they ended up having to rob Peter to pay Paul, and they put themselves in a bad position. So there are three things that you can do to really get a good understanding and control of your finances in your business: budgeting and forecasting, reporting, and using the pure method. So let's talk about those each a little bit more. So budgeting and forecasting, when you think about those, they're really all about making sure that your business is profitable. So for people who've never done this before, I think the easiest place to start is just to go and get your numbers from last year and take a look at them. Okay, figure out on average, look at the total amount of revenue that your business did last year, divide it by 12. Okay, and then just place that in as a placeholder for each month for this year as the revenue you think you're going to bring in. Okay, then you can look at each expense category. Look at that for the full year, divide it by 12, and then plug that in across each of the months for the coming year. And that allows you to now at least have an idea of what those expenses are and what they've averaged. Okay. Then you look at, this is how much I think is going to come in. This is how much I think is going to go out. So this is how much I should have left. Now that you have those numbers in place, you can start thinking about the seasonality of your business. You can start thinking about, do you have any big projects or sales coming up? And now you can start to tweak those numbers up and down based on the fluidity of your business. Now, don't worry if you don't get it right, because quite honestly, budgeting and forecasting really is just a guess. You're never going to get it exact, but the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. Okay. So now that you have a budget and a forecast in place, it's time to do your reporting. It's time to check on that, because this is really all about making sure, are you on track or are you off track with achieving those budgetary goals that you've set? So depending on your business, you may want to look at those numbers monthly. You may want to look at them weekly. You may, if you're in retail, you may want to look at them daily or even hourly. All right. But at a minimum, I would encourage you to look at your numbers at least once a month and use your profit and loss statement to do that. With my clients, we use what we call the master tracker. And the master tracker is just a simple Excel spreadsheet that allows them to put their budget and their forecast in, and then track their actual expenses against what it was that they thought that they were going to spend, and also track their actual revenue against what it was they thought was going to come in. Okay, the third thing that you can do is you can use the pure method. And this is really a great method to use for profitability. And that's what the P stands for, is profitable. So as you're looking at the categories of your revenue generating activities or services, identify what are the things in there that I want to make more profitable. Maybe it's a new product or service. Maybe it's a higher margin product or service that you're not selling as much of as you could be. So identifying those things and then putting a plan in place to make them more profitable is a great way to help add to the bottom line. The U stands for unnecessary. So an example of that might be, are you paying for insurance for a vehicle that you don't have anymore? The R is reduce or replace. So what are some categories that you could look at to potentially reduce your expense or replace it with something else? might be your office space. It could be your cell phone. It could be insurance, could be television providers. So any number of those things are things that you could potentially reduce or replace. And then E is just going to be even. Okay. These are expenses that aren't going to change. Probably your rent. Maybe you have loans and the interest rates are higher now than they were when you took the loan. So you know you're not going to be able to get a better deal. So E is even. Right. So P is profitable. U is unnecessary. R is reduce or replace. And E is even. Okay? So once you put these three strategies in place to gain control of your the finances of your business, it's going to allow you to have the ability to make good decisions. It's going to allow you to have a profitable business. And quite honestly, it's going to give you some extreme peace of mind. So if you're a business owner who's struggling with understanding the tracking of your finances, go ahead and schedule a free 30-minute call so you can tell me a little bit about what's going on, and we can start working toward finding a solution for you.